All right, guys, we're back after a brief station identification break. Can you guys all see this screen? No. Huh? You can still the screen? Ideally, but you know, if not, then you can hear my beautiful voice, and hopefully that helps. And if you've got any questions, obviously we'll get questions at the end. So I've heard a couple people here interested in house hacking. That's kind of like my specialty. And so yeah, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit of my story. Some of you may have heard of me, some of you haven't. And if you haven't, then this might be a little bit more entertaining. So I was able to achieve financial independence in 5 years, and I'm going to teach you all how to do the same. Actually, I did it in 3 years, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. So congratulations, everybody. You guys are human beings. Raise your hand if you knew that you had a 1 in 400 trillion chance at even being born a human being. Anyone heard that stat before? It's true. You won the race. We all won the race, the first race ever. You're literally more likely to be struck by lightning twice and win the lottery in the same lifetime than you are just being born a human being. So then why is it? Why is everybody so sad? Why is America the most depressed country in the world? Well, let's take a look at a typical American life. You got years 0 to 20 are the formative years. I'm trying to move out of your way so you guys can see. You know, you get your first kiss, you go to school, you graduate, and yeah, those are fun years. You can't really get them back, but I think everybody looks back upon those years fondly. Then you get the next part of your life, your working years, ages 22 to 65. That's when you get married, you start a family, your kids grow up, your kids start having kids, and then finally you get into your golden years. 65 to about 78 is when the average American passes away. And so basically, look at this, how this works, right? 80% of your life, you're serving other people, whether it be your teachers, coaches, parents in the formative years, your boss in the working years, and then finally you get ages 65 to 80 to yourself. Who else thinks that that's a bunch of bullcrap? Right? And so that's like me saying, Jeremy, I'm going to use you. I'm going to need you to give me $60 in clean, crisp $20 bills. And in exchange, I'm going to give you 15 crumpled up $1 bills. Would you take that? All right. First person. You can talk to me after. But who would take that bet? Who would take that trade? Well, that's what everyone on the American society is signing up for, right? You're trading your 60 best years in exchange for 15 of your worst. So I thought about that, and I was like, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And so this is me here. Sorry, now the slides are kind of going down. This is me here, 2015. I graduated from Northeastern University in Boston. I'm an East Coast kid, so moved out to California, and that was the dream for somebody who grew up in small town Massachusetts. The weather was beautiful, sunny, 300 days a year, palm trees and oceans, and yeah, and I was living a good life. Had good friends, was making really good money. I was making over 6 figures at like 22 years old. And so like from anybody's perspective, I was doing okay. But when I looked at myself in the mirror every night and every morning, I was really upset because I was working 80 to 100 hour weeks. And I had a negative net worth of $60,000. I was $60,000 in the hole at 22 years old. Northeastern is not a very cheap school. So if you're anyone who's got kids and they're thinking about going to Northeastern, don't do it. I had $90,000 of debt, $30,000 of just like money saved over the course of my life. And so I had a negative $60,000 net worth. And the straw that broke the camel's back was when I was in Big Sur. Who knows a Big Sur? Anybody been there? So y'all know how beautiful Big Sur is. And it was a gorgeous weekend. I had phones were shut off. And I got an email on Sunday night from my boss saying that I had to get this memo out by 8 a.m. Eastern time, 5 a.m. Pacific time. And so the last bit of my weekend, which I thought I was going to enjoy and relax, I was working. So my girlfriend at the time was sad. I was sad. And at the time, I knew this girlfriend was not going to be my wife. My wife is over there, by the way. Like to embarrass her a little bit. But it was kind of it was like foresight into my future, right? Where it's like I knew that on a Sunday night, I want to be hanging out with my family, with my wife, not working. And so if I was going to continue this lifestyle, then that's what I would be in 30 or 40 years. And so I said kind of like, what if, right? What if we were to change this kind of timeline here, and again, I apologize with how the screen is kind of messed up. And instead of being 80% not free, 20% free, what if we shifted that last timeline and we were 40% not free, 60% free? So what if you could retire at age 30, age 35, 40, right? Or wherever you're at in life, like what if instead it wasn't 30 years to retirement, it was 5 years, 10 years, right? I was super aggressive, I'm gonna show you in a second, and I was able to do it in 2.5. And so that's when I discovered the 4-Hour Work Week. Who has read the 4-Hour Work Week? Please, everybody's hand go up. If your hand is not up, go buy this book. It's one of the best-selling books. And that's where I got the idea of passive income. It was not Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was the idea that I could think of my income on a monthly basis versus an annual basis, which is much more harder to comprehend. And I thought, hey, if my passive income on a monthly basis exceeds my expenses, I no longer have to work. That's awesome. And then I looked at my monthly expenses and I was like, shit, I'm only spending like $3,000 a month. So all I need is what, like 3 rental properties and I'm financially free. So I was living in Silicon Valley at the time. And if you guys know Silicon Valley, it's the king of bad ideas, and I was one of them. So I was thinking of dumb idea after dumb idea after dumb idea after dumb idea. And finally, I stumbled upon real estate investing. I was living in a unit, in a apartment complex, like 20 units, full of college kids. I was the only one that was not in college, me and my roommate. And this little 65-year-old Mexican lady came up to us every month and went to the mailbox and collected a bunch of checks. And I was like, well, I'm paying $2,000 a month. And everybody else in this complex is paying $2,000 a month. This woman is making $40,000 a month just from this property. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I never talked to this woman, never. But I started looking at real estate investing. I started looking into Bigger Pockets. I'm sure you guys all know. I started watching the webinars. I literally watched, I still have the notes, 40 of the Bigger Pockets webinars. Do you know how many different webinars they throw? Like 6. I was literally watching repeats and I didn't even realize it, right? And so that's how obsessed I was getting. I would listen to the podcast. I would read all of the books. I'd be going to meetups just like this. So you guys are all doing the right thing. And then I discovered that my ideal investment, right, and the best way to get started was house hacking. So if you don't know what house hacking is, does anyone not know what house hacking is? Yeah, you know, you're house hacking. Okay, so everyone knows what house hacking is, so I'm gonna bust through this part, but you know, you're buying a 1 to 4 unit property, you know, with a low percent down, you rent, you know, your rent covers your mortgage, you live for free, everyone's living a great life. And there's a spectrum though, right? Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, I got kids, never gonna house hack. I got a family, my wife will never do that. But there's a spectrum, right, where it's comfortability on one side, profit on the other. And as you get more profitable, you usually lose comfort, and vice versa. And so, you know, could you do a luxury Airbnb, right, where you have the house of your dreams? It's got the floor-to-ceiling windows, it's got the quartz countertops, whatever the hell you want, right? But maybe there's like a little ADU in the back, right? I know Idaho's got a lot of those, and you're just renting that out, and that's covering half your mortgage. That's what we're doing now, right? We've house hacked a few times. We have the house of our dreams. We Airbnb out our basement. Thanks, Tyler, for helping us find it. And you know, and that's making us some passive income, so we don't have to pay our full mortgage. All right, there's the traditional way, the duplex, triplex, quad. Y'all have heard of that. Rent by the room. If you have, you know, if you're young or you've got kids that may want to do this, just graduating college, you can buy a single family house and rent it out by the room. That's how I got started. And then if you know anybody that's like an engineer and like a rock climber, these guys love not living in homes and living in campers. They get it done. Buy a house, live in a camper, rent out your house. And so this is my house hack story. So this is the first house hack I bought. I know it doesn't look like a duplex, but it was a duplex. Top, bottom, 2 1-bedrooms. I rented out the top there, and I lived in the bottom, and I Airbnb'd out my bedroom. And so I don't know if you can see this, but this right here, this is how much Airbnb has improved. That was my Airbnb, my legitimate listing, and that would make me $1,100 a month. Is there any Airbnb property managers in here, or like anybody who's got Airbnbs? And you know that wouldn't get anything today. And then I lived out here in the living room behind this contraption, curtain and room divider. And yeah, so I was like really determined to live rent free here, right? So I bought this thing for $385,000. I put $17,000 down with an FHA loan. My total rent was $2,850. my expenses were $2,250, so that means my mortgage payment was $2,000 and my reserves were $250. Reserves are just what I call, like, it's for vacancy, capital expenditures, repairs and maintenance, all the stuff that you want to put aside. And I was cash flowing $1,000 a month because I was really cash flowing $600, but I was also living for free, and I attribute living behind the curtain for $400 a month. So $1,000 a month cash flow, property one. And so after year number one, right, I've got $1,000 a month of passive income. Not bad. And here's what happens to my net worth, right? My net worth is kind of do some weird stuff, but then it pops, right? I'm sure those of you who bought property know if you buy right, your net worth pops after you buy. And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about your net worth return on investment. And this is why house hacking is the best strategy out there for real estate investing. So in year one of this property, right, I cash flowed $7,200 in year one. I saved $4,800 in rent, $8,000 of loan pay down, and my property appreciated $83,000 in year one. I got this appraised 5 years later at $800,000, right? So it's doubled in 5 years, and divide that by 5, and that's $83,000. My initial investment was $17,000, right? That is a 605% return on investment. Who wouldn't take that, right? It's higher than your Bitcoin portfolio right now. I hate to say it. And guess what? It's still up there, right? Maybe it's at like 780 now because maybe it went down a little bit, but still, right? And even if I didn't get lucky, right? Even if it didn't appreciate $1 since then, I take out all that good appreciation, which I got lucky, and my return on investment is still 118%. And you'll see that every single deal, every single house hack deal that I've done, I've gotten 118%. And I'm not getting the best deals on the market. I'm getting the deal that is available at that time. So second house hack, right? This time I got a little bit smarter. This was a 5-bed, 2-bath. I lived in one room. I had 4 doors, or only one door, 4 walls, window, closet, just like you'd expect a bedroom to look like. And yeah, so I bought this for $343,000. I put $17,000 down, $10,000 in repairs to add a bedroom. My total rent was $3,100. My expenses, $2,400. So you guys can do that simple math. $700 plus I was living rent free, which was $700. So when I moved out, I rented that out for $700, my room for $700. And now I'm making $1,400 a month on property number 2, right? Return on investment of 136%. Again, I'm not a genius. I just kind of know how to make these things work. And so every single deal I've done, every single deal I've helped somebody do, they're making returns like this. And so now passive income is $2,400 a month after year one plus like 2 months, right after I bought my second property. You can kind of see where this is going, right? This is my net worth. This one I bought even better, added some value, boom, popped up. And you'll note, I mean, you probably can't see it because this is small, but the slope of the line of my net worth is growing much faster because now I've got 2 properties adding wealth, right, to my net worth. And then I've got the third house hack, right? This time I got a little bit more, aggressive, did a little rehab to the basement, added the kitchen. This was like my gold mine because I had 2 kitchens, right? Which means basically I got a single family house that I could use as 2 units. And I redid the kitchen, right? This kitchen looked like literally someone would get murdered down there. It was weird. And I put in the quartz countertops and the nice floors. And guess what? You do not need quartz countertops in a basement. So be careful. Do not over rehab. That's a mistake that I made on this one. And yeah, but it looks good. So I put it on Airbnb, right? I bought this one for $380, $25,000 down, $20,000 in repairs. My total rent was $3,500, $3,550 on this one. My mortgage and expenses was $2,500. Cash flow, $1,750. You can kind of see where this is going, right? Net worth return on investment on that one was 138%. Right? Again, I'm not finding the best. I'm finding what's available on the market when I'm looking. I'm not like trying to find off market deals. I'm not going crazy. Like this is so much easier than a lot of real estate investors make it out to be. And so now, after year 3, third property, I've got $4,150 of passive income. And at 26 years old, right, that's really all I needed to be financially free. I was single. I was by myself, right? So now, right, now I want to show you guys this net worth graph here. Okay, so there's my financial independence. And like this is what happened after year 3. Because when you can quit your job, right, if you have a job, and I'm not to offend anybody who's got a job here, but you're playing not to lose, right? You're 40 hours a week is defense, because if you lose your job, you're kind of fucked, right? I'm sorry, there's a kid in here. Maybe she's not gonna hear anymore. You're screwed, right? a job is just over broke. So once you've got the passive income to be financially free, you can then take that big risk of starting a business, of doing an entrepreneurial venture, becoming a real estate agent, whatever, and then your income is unlimited. And so I decided to do an agent side hustle here after year 3. That got so busy for me, I had to quit my W-2 job. I graduated from that, and like, I wish this graph, but like my net worth just exploded, right? I made more money. I had made 10 times more money in the year I quit than I have ever made in my entire life. And so, I did this a couple more times. I did this 5 total times in Denver. I ended up selling one of the properties, but I ended up with a passive income of $56.50 just from house hacking. Now, because the real estate business is doing so well, we also picked up some more properties in the meantime. And so after 5 years, we had passive income of over $11,000. 11,000 times 12 is, I don't know, 132,000, something like that, right? So $132,000 a year of passive income. That's enough for most people to live off of. And that's not even like the best part, right? Everyone here knows like cash flow is nice in real estate, but equity is really what makes you rich, right? And so the equity is really the best part, because the 5 properties that I got here in Denver, right? And these aren't even including the properties that my wife has purchased or other properties. This is just for my house hacking portfolio, over $1 million of appreciation in 5 years from 5 properties. You want to be a millionaire in 5 years? House hack once a year, right? Very simple. Again, I'm not doing anything crazy. So now what am I doing? Well, now I've got a team of real estate agents in 4 different markets. Denver is our primary market, but we're expanding up here, Seattle and San Diego. And yeah, we help coach, guide, and mentor people through this whole journey, right? So we really specialize in that first, second, third time investment, and we kind of hold your hand through the whole thing, because it can be scary. A lot of people, they're spending their whole life savings on this first property. My wife and I, we spent 7 weeks in Hawaii last year. Went on a crazy trip with some friends, a bunch of crazy trips with friends. Bought our dream home in Idaho. Thanks again, Tyler and their team, and Nick. And so basically, if I can do it, right, and all of these people who we helped, right, and all of these people are seeing the same thing. I haven't gotten anything special for myself. And one couple I really liked, really love, they're near and dear to my heart, because this is the first couple that started that I was directly related to their financial independence. They bought 3 houses with me, and they got $4,500 of passive income, and now they're just traveling, living out of their van, and they hiked a Colorado 14er on a Tuesday, which is, by the way, I don't know if you guys know what the 14ers are. Does anyone know what 14,000 feet? You guys know? Yeah, hell yeah. Knew I liked you guys. But yeah, so on a Tuesday, right? And so that's the best time to go out there and ski, right? No, there's no lines. And so, if all these people can do it, my question is, why can't you? And yeah, that's my presentation. So, any questions?